in Zoom meeting room, and also those who are watching in our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for attending the session today. You are now in the session Meet the Filmmakers International Shorts for Kids, and we in the panel or in the meeting room now we have filmmakers from program International Short for Kids. Not all of them, but we have a few of them. And we would like to welcome Michael Asante from the film Wicked Desires. Hi, Michael.
Hi. Thank you for having me here. Really, thank you.
You're very welcome. And then we have Shin Hosokawa from the film Dino. Hello, Shin.
I'm Shin Hosokawa. Thank you for inviting me in this festival.
You're very welcome. We are happy to have you here. And then we have filmmakers, directors from film Kuma and the Beast, Ivan Stur and Javier Luna Kruk. Welcome, Ivan and Javier.
Good morning, and thank you for having us.
Everyone.
Good morning. Okay, so it's very early morning in the place where they joining us. So let's talk about your film, guys. So we are now talking about film for children. Now I want to ask first, is your film really prepared for children? Maybe start with Michael.
That is a really interesting question. The answer is that the idea came up from real experience that are typical of an adult. And I started from there to that idea, and asking myself how I could translate this experience relates to something that you live in a, not when you are a kid, but how you can tell this story to a kid, how I can suit that experience, real life experience for a kid. Then I am answering your question. It didn't start as a short movie for a kid, but I wanted to turn it in that way. And I hope that I've done it in a way or in another.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So in that scenario, when the kids watch your film, what do you wish them to experience or maybe take from the film?
Yeah, I really hope that it will occur something like when you hear old classic and a little bit spooky tale, as I don't know, just to make an example, Red Riding Hood. There is the entertainment part, but there is also, I could say, a warning, a fun warning, but it has to be something like that. I think that is a mission really important of stories directed to children. As an adult, what I can warn you about in a language that you can understand and that you can elaborate with your emotion, because I don't think that kids are stupid. Absolutely not. That is a mistake that we currently do as adults. The point is, what kind of emotion can I use to make what I would like to say to you, to make my message not unforgettable, but at least what can stick to you, to your imagination and with your own feelings. That's the quest, and also the challenge bigger for someone that wants to do a product for children.
Very interesting. Thank you, Michael. And what about Shin? Was Dino really created for children? It's 20 minutes more than 20 minutes films. What do you think children will think about your film?
I want to make like a 80s Hollywood adventure movie. So I like 80s movie, and so I そうね、I want parents and children to watch dinos together, not just children. The father and child, and mother and child. So I want to watch my animation with family. Do you understand? Okay.
Yes, 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 I understand. So yeah, so it is for craft, it's for general audience,
Yeah.
although we put it in shorts for kids competition. But yes, it's we take it just like what you wish, that it will be content for both parents and their children. Okay, thank you, Shin. What about Ivan and Javier? Did you prepare your film to be for children? Can you tell us about it?
I think that the film is directed to children, but also to all audiences, because the message our script writer has come up with a very good phrase in the making of the film, that was about making mistakes in the right direction. It's about making this journey of finding yourself within the society that you live in, but your true self. And we think that we made it for children because that's the audience that we wanted to direct to, and the main character is a children. But I think it's a message that can go through all audiences. I don't know what you think, Javi.
Yeah, I think that we focused on ourselves when we were kids more than in other kids. So we weren't basing what we were doing in theory or what we were learning in film schools, but deciding everything from our own 6 years old view. I don't know. When we remember the first time we went alone in the wild, we had to make with the script writer and both of us remembering those moments. So we were talking to ourselves from the past. That was a good exercise too.
Okay, thank you very much. It's very interesting because when I watch the film, it feels like I remember my first adventure experience during not really 6 years old. So maybe I was adventurous a little later than that, but the experience I imagine were totally different. But I don't know, but the film somehow brought me to that moment, even though the story is totally different. And also, these children so his name is Kuma, right? That
Yes.
boy is Kuma, right? So Kuma
Yes.
have a very different experience with most children, but yet I brought back to my 8 years old. Yeah, so that's very, very interesting and very impressive. Okay.
That's very good to know.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And okay, now it's interesting too. Now we're talking about Kuma. So Kuma is come from a certain ethnic or so. Can you explain about? Can you explain to us a little bit background about what ethnicity and then what ritual at the beginning of the film? There is a ritual. Can you give us a little bit background on that?
Yep. Well, Kuma's world is something like 12,000 years ago in South America. So we really don't have anything about them but rocks. Archaeologists can only find rocks that were worked by them. So it's all like we invented this tribe, this ethnic, like what would be the most ancient people that could have lived in South America? That was the question, because they were the only ones that were together with these megafauna creatures, right? So we worked with archaeologists and with paleontologists, with I don't know, going back in time with them, but they could only take us certainly like 6,000 years ago. There is no data about these people, but they really existed because archaeologists found these rocks, special rocks with designs, so that are dated 12,000 years ago. So we were super free to develop our own aesthetics for this tribe and to find what we would like to talk about childhood and the relation of a child with the fire and with the tribe and with everything that happens in the beginning of the film. But we weren't focused on one specific culture from Argentina. We were mixing them because we were too far away in the past.
Yes, we mixed them, but I think that we took most elements from the Tehuelche culture, as they were the ones that shared the region the most, all that we know that shared the region. So we took some elements from them, like some ethnic features or clothes, but we invented over that because there is no registry. The same as some elements of the nature, like that we investigated, and we needed some things to move the narration forward. Like, for example, trees. There were no trees in that time, but we talked with the investigators, and they allowed us to to put some trees for the big bird, the megaterio, to scratch on, and like we needed these kind of things, but most of it is designed over the data the few data that we have.
Yep. And one thing that we wanted to cover is like classic South America for filmmaking is like the Amazon or the Andes. We have those two super developed in many audiovisual projects. But we wanted to talk about the savannas, las pampas, that we say are the playing grounds that we have here in Argentina that are special because of something else, because they would make different kind of sounds for the music. So we were thinking about different music than Amazonian and the Andes, trying to find a new sound, but it's like a third option from South America that we don't usually see a lot around here.
Yes, the music was also very, kept, I don't know how to say it in English, really took my attention because it's really different, very, very different. Okay, maybe we can talk about that more later. And now that we are all already talking about Kuma, I'm curious about the boy in Wicked Desires. So, Mikael, do you have name for this boy? And the boy is inspired by who? Do you have any inspiration about the boy? Is it your friend? That's him. Please explain to us about him, his personality, and what will be the inspiration of creating him.
Okay, behind him, there is obsession, personal obsession for really old cartoons like Coco the Clown, the Fleischner brothers, all their works, and of course the Disney Silly Symphonies classics that have where there is a really important element that is the musical one that I couldn't put inside. It was part of the original plan was to make a sort of musical, but it didn't go in that direction at the end. And the name is Oswald of the main character, even because some of the features are relinked to the character Oswald that was, I could say, the grandfather of Mickey Mouse. And I wanted to mix some of that features with a human-like feature. Oswald is okay, I don't know how to don't lose it in the green background. Oswald is a young boy that is a little bit bullied by his companions, even because might be for his how he looks, and it is really obsessed by hats. And this is a key element inside the plot. But most importantly, Oswald is trying to find a place where to belong to. Is trying to find a place where to be loved, to be accepted. And that is what he brings him inside the shop. And it is what the owner of the shop tried to exploit from him, to turn against him, the need of every children that tries to understand who I am, where I belong to. And but all these choices, under a practical point of view, made the realization of this character a nightmare, because I wanted a big head, small legs, and even a little bit tummy, with that little bit tummy. And that made a real nightmare to find the correct structure for the character, to make him able to walk. And then I paid with a lot of mistakes, the choices that theoretically were good. Because you have to know that Wicked Desires was an exercise during my master degree in animation, but I'm mainly focused specialized in 3D CGI. And suddenly I found myself during the elaboration of this short movie to fight against the gravity force against the balance of different objects, things that you don't have to worry about in CGI. And that was a funny things to deal with it. And it changed a lot even about the storytelling. The technical element had a lot of impact on what at the end I have told.
Okay, thank you, Michael. It's very interesting to finally know the name of the boy. And also, yes, I think we get that in the films, that it is also a film about how children dealing with bullies and their hardship with social, or their social experience, basically. Okay, now we go to Shin. Shin, we know about Dino. Again, I'm asking you the same question. Do you have a name for the boy? And what is the inspiration of when you created the character of the boy? Maybe it was you during childhood or your friend. Please tell us about it.
The boy is is Hook as a Peter Pan, and like a young Hook, red coat, and Dino is a crocodile, and his body is sheep.
Yes.
So he is the boy is a treasure hunter, and maybe he is a pirate. So I read Peter Pan, and I imagined Captain Hook and the crocodile if they were friends. So.
Oh, okay.
So this my story based Peter Pan.
Okay. And then there is a character from the animal tapir.
Hmm?
I mean, from the animal tapir, right? The one who also looking for the same thing, the rival. It's from it's the animal tapir. Is that true?
Animal what?
Tapir, like what mentioned in the what is it? Okay, so what is the other character, the one that also looking for the same thing with Dino?
The black character.
Oh, yeah, black character. True. That one.
That is
What is the inspiration of it? Is it certain animal?
yes. That is a taper. Taper. なんだろう。
Yeah.
It is a real animal and the base the taper なんだ taper is なんだろう難しいな。I'm sorry, I don't なんだ
That's okay. If you cannot find the word in English, maybe later we can ask you again about that. Yes, we know that thing. We call it tapir here. Oh, but you call it taper. Okay. Okay. So why this animal? Why do you choose these animals?
I like this one, this character. I like this animal. So.
Okay. Oh yeah. Sure. Why not? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Shin. Okay. Now we are going to ask. Okay. Before we go to the next question, I would like to inform the audience in Zoom meeting and also in YouTube stream that you can ask questions to these filmmakers too. And if you don't know how to say it in English, don't worry, just type it or say it in Bahasa Indonesia. It's a good thing I'm from Indonesia. Then I will help to translate your question into English. Okay, thank you very much. We will eagerly waiting for your question. Okay, now we are talking about the production now. So how long did it take to create your film? And also, what was the biggest challenge? How many people were involved? Yes, it's all about production. Please tell us about it, starting from Mikhail.
Okay, the production was quite an adventure in my case, because at the beginning, the team was meant to be formed by an overall number of 4 people. And I had all my equipment here in Naples. But suddenly, of course, 1 year ago, I found myself stuck at my parents' home in quarantine in a off-zone limits, with no budget, with no equipment. And for this reason, after a brief but intense moment of desperation, I had to work all alone on this stop motion movie that took an overall period of something less than 3 months for go through all the production phases. And the biggest challenge was to find different ways to achieve what I have done with different equipment and materials, using just and only what I had in that moment in my house, in my garage. I have to slaughter 2 poor pillows to use the material, the foam, to create the character. I had to destroy some old furniture to build all the set. But that was really, really fun, because it was I had to look at the object that surrounded me with different eyes, telling how can I use this to achieve that result. And just to make an example, exactly on this photo that you are now pointing, I didn't have photographic filter. I didn't have, but I had to do in some way to create the lighting, as you can see in this photograph. If you can stop just
Stop
before.
sebentar, Iskia. Sebelumnya, Iskia, stop sebentar.
Yes, the one before. Yes, this one.
Sebelumnya,
And that the one after this. Sorry.
setelah ini, foto setelah ini, di bawahnya ini.
Okay, to obtain this kind of lighting, because I didn't have professional lighting with me, I had to use baking paper, the one that you use to put inside your oven, painting it frame after frame, shot after shot, to create the sensation of shadows and lightning. But it was crazy, but at the same time it's really fun. And okay, that is my gaze of a madman after 3 months locked inside a room with all this equipment. I will not do this again, because you need other just to stay sane, to not lose your mental sanity. Yes, but it was the difficulties and the handicap of doing these short movies in these conditions, I repeat, were also the funniest moment. Even because coming from CGI, I had, as I was telling you before, the moment of big frustration, because in CGI, at a certain point, you can take an object and you can scale it. You can change position. In stop motion movie, you cannot scale a carved piece of wood. Then you have to find to the problems that you find yourself involved in. You must find different solutions, changing inevitably what you had in mind. But it was a really important and precious exercise for me, this production, because I had to face every aspect alone of the production. But as I was telling you, just making a joke about my mental health, it's important to have more than 2 pairs of eyes, because after 3 months, you are so deep and fully immersed in what you are doing that the risk is also to lose the point of what you are doing. And you cannot see mistakes that are at the light of the sun, and that you will see just when all the product is finished. And and for the eyes, as I also use the different techniques, even if I didn't have time for post process of any kind, but I wanted to give that 2D elements because of the reference that I was talking before of the classic Silly Symphonies and Coco the Clown's stories. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Michael, for the production experience, for sharing this production experience, and also for sharing the insight of the life of animation filmmakers, stop motion filmmakers. So yes, maybe audience, if you learn something, if you are going to create animation, take care of your mental health. Okay. Now we go to Kuma and the Bees. Please, Ivan and Javier, tell us about your production process. The same question: how long did it take? How many people involved, and what was the biggest challenge? Because I saw the credit title. It was like a very professional production. So many people involved. Yeah, tell us about it.
Thank you so much. The production in total must have been about 9 years since we had the idea until we finished it. And during that whole process, we've been growing as professionals and working with a lot of people. We've never been the two of us alone. Like we had many people from the beginning helping us to develop the concept art, the designs, to fix the story. And as we got forward in the production and we started to get some money to produce some elements and associating with other people like the 3D printers that did these pieces, or people that gave us lights at a very cheap cost for a 2-year process of shooting. We started like improving and making the team a little bigger. But I think one of the biggest challenges for this was to keep constant on the objective that we have, that was like to have the most beautiful short film that we could bring, and that implied many new people coming into the team and giving ideas, and us like changing the path a little bit to accommodate those ideas, because they were improving to the quality of the story and the aesthetics and everything. So I think that in my point of view, the biggest challenge was to make that during that whole time. I don't know what you think, Javi, but
yeah, we were like 60 people involved in this process, but the filming stage and the biggest puppet making and maquette making moments were like 3 years, not the whole 9 years. So in that process, one of the biggest challenges, and also one of the things I enjoyed the most, was welcoming new people every month to the team, because the students wanted to participate in this process. So we made like a questioning of what were their needs for their careers, and what they especially wanted to develop for their own processes. So if someone came and said, I want to make a very good molds, very tiny, well, we did some practice with them until they got the quality we needed for the film, and then they participated in production. So one of the main things was to develop what exercises people should do to get on board and deliver the same quality we wanted to bring to the film. So everything you see here is 3D printing, mold making, puppet making, silicone casting. All of those were things that we ourselves hadn't been doing a lot. So we were learning as we did it. So it was very good to find a big fund here in Argentina that could start all of this. The main team of us playing with big quality materials and cameras and lights, everything was new for everybody. So we invited whoever wanted to participate abroad. So that was difficult, because film institution here gave us 2.5 years to finish the short film from the moment they gave us the money. So that was the dates we had to achieve. And that was very positive for the process also, because we couldn't focus anywhere else while doing it. And we have to keep the machine working day by day. So it was very important to have a big production team also, not only to arrange who is coming every day to the studio and what jobs should everyone have, but also to start looking for other funds so we could have a sponsorship from different brands, and they would give us the materials for mold making, or the materials for all the paper you see comes from a special brand of paper, and 3D printing. And it was all of us working together, the people at the studio filming, the people at the workshop producing the pieces, and production team always looking for new funds to develop the biggest quality we could achieve with this short time and short money. Really, for Argentina is not a lot of money that we had to do for doing this film, but I think we got a very beautiful piece with all of those.
With all of those challenges.
Challenge.
Certainly is a beautiful piece because I'm not expecting it to be have a lot of so many years. 9 years is very interesting process, and I wonder when you mention about it. Maybe we can close first the behind the scene videos, Hiskia.
Mhm.
Maybe we can continue later.
Yeah, I will show the video and then move to another filmmaker.
Okay.
Well, this video we are watching was what happened before we started shooting. So all this process happened way before the first day of shooting that will come in the last part of the video. So.
And about the 9-year process, is like Javi said, like it was the last 3 years that we were in this rhythm of production. But before that, we had investigation, we had design, we had been presenting to new funds and developing like pre-production for everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and in those process, the aesthetics came to a different approach when the director Veronica appeared in the team. She proposed us to work with more geometrical shapes and with paper all around, and we had already finished one huge creature, but it was all textured like real skin and that, and we had to throw that away and start again with the same creature so we could meet the new aesthetic. So it was very nice to find the design. We all thought that was the best for this production, even though we had to rearrange things and throw a whole creature away. This one, the Glyptodon.
Okay. So Veronica did. So for audience, what Javier Ivan is talking is Veronica Arcodaci, right? The art director.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, the art director.
So yeah, it's interesting now that we are talking about it. You mentioned that you welcome new people. Keep welcome new people. Now, how to maintain the art that you originally wanted when you have new people coming over and over again? How to maintain that? The art that you really wanted, the original ones.
No, I think that the original, as Javi said, like the original idea was to make it more naturalist and using other kind of textures. So this aesthetic that you see on screen is the one that Veronica proposed. So she had it in her mind, and she was the one that was in charge of seeing that everyone in the art team went in the right direction. So I think it's a question more for her, but it was a lot of designs, and we had an illustrator, Roger, that he designed all the characters under the supervision of Veronica. So we had sketches for everything. We had samples of materials for everything. So that there was a good base of what the idea should be. And then I think it was an exercise of every day, the same as with animation and mold making and puppet making. We had to, every time that a person came in, we had to show them the whole process and where was it going.
Yeah, and one of the main things that the Veronica developed also was 2 or 3 main assistants for her, that they could talk as Veronica, not always, but in one time she had to be far away, So one of the girls was in charge of building a whole maquette, but she was covering the whole process from far away. So we sent her pictures and she drew on top of the pictures, but she wanted to achieve with the maquettes that we were building, and the team built a little and we sent the pictures. So she was always in charge of what was happening in front of camera, even though she was far away or near. So like there were two main art direction, one from model making, puppet making, maquettes and all of that. And the other one was Lucas from light direction. And they had to work together before everybody came in and animate on top of what they were producing. So they had to be super sure that they were giving people permission to animate. So art had to be at Veronica's quality and light had to be at Lucas. So that's something that they took care of, and they got in every shot, we think.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, you want to add more, Ivan? Yeah, Ivan?
No. I was just confirming what.
Okay, so it's interesting because in craft we will hear from independent production and then something bigger team productions, and we get a chance to see, okay, so if we have a bigger production, what kind of people we must have, and in this production, Kuma and the Beast, we can learn that it will be a good thing to have a art director and photography director to be fully in charge in it, to maintain the quality or the art that we want to achieve. Now that we're talking the art, which means there will be materials that becoming the result of the artistic process. Now, the other night, there was a question, and it was really interesting question, funny in a way, but it's interesting. Now, the question was, what happened with the materials, the puppets, the set? What happened with them? What did you do with it? Are you put them in an exhibition? How did you preserve them? Because some materials, we don't know what materials we use that can easily broken or can easily changing colors or anything. It's a very interesting question. Then I decided that I wanted to ask the same question to more filmmakers because it's very interesting. Maybe Shin, can you tell us what happened with the puppets and then the set?
Puppets
Do
side?
you keep them, the set of the film, and then the puppets? What happened with them? Do you keep them, or do you put it into exhibition? Tell us, where are the animals and the boys now?
And now,
Oh, you're keeping it. This is the tapir pepper.
yes.
Yes.
But
So,
Dino and Boyd is my workspace. So this is not here.
yeah. Is it hard to keep them in the same condition? To keeping them good? Is it hard? Do you maintain their condition?
Oh.
How do you keep them like that, not changing?
Yes. The character is not changing, but I do not maintenance. So, なんだろう。So I just sorry. One more. Sorry, question again.
Yes, the question is, what do you do with the puppets, with the animals? Your puppets and the set, the place and the set. What do you do after the filming?
After
Filming, after the film finish.
なんだろうな。Say every set and character is saved. But なんだ。なんだ。
What about the place? I think you have boats and many things. Are they preserved? Are they okay, or they are broken, or what
broken.
happened with them? Oh, okay.
So,
That's okay. So it's funny because some filmmaker was even told us that, wow, it's funny that you're asking because I'm about to throw them away. So yeah. Well,
my house is very narrow space, so I don't save every set and materials.
okay, that's okay. Thank you, Shin. What about you, Mika?
I would like to be mature enough to give them away. Just to make an example, this one of Wicked Desires, they were asked me to be given to the academy, the art academy, for which I have done this, but I can't. I can't because, especially with the character, especially when you have made them and you were also the animator. You create a sort of, it can be weird, it sounds weird, but you develop a sort of link between father and son, and you cannot, even if it's wrong, you cannot let them go. For the set, it's something completely different because it's a question of space. In order to survive, you have to recycle them, to throw them away. But also on this point of view, I'm working on it because the shop of Wicked Desires, I'm telling myself that I have to remove it, but it's still there, and that's a problem. About the question of how to maintain them, I'm still working on it because just to make an example of this character, the clothes is really, really difficult, the fabric to keep it clean as the first time. And I tried also with product chemicals, but they destroy your character, even because this is made of foam. Then if you use some corrosive material, you create a hole in your character, and then that happened to previous characters. Then I hope that this is a correct answer.
Okay, thank you, Mikael. What about Kuma and friends and all the animals? Who want to answer, Javier or Ivan?
Well, for maquettes, one thing that we had to develop during production was a way to take all the grass away from one maquette, put it back in the box, and then prepare it for another maquette, because we weren't producing grasslands for every shot. So we used a common glue in stop motion that we could take away with another product. So most of the grasslands are in boxes, separated by sizes. Because in this project, we want to continue producing things with Kuma. We're now developing an illustrated children's book to be produced in paper. So we are working on text now, but we're going to start making images for every page. So we need to keep some of those things. So we have some special mountains that we like a lot, saved in a special wardrobe, waiting for those photos to appear. But also, just in case, we did some shooting of the elements after producing the short film, of each element alone in a white background. So we could work with those assets and maybe do a video game also with those elements. So it's quite safe in images in good quality, and some of the elements are still around to be shot again.
Yes, and the puppets are all in the studio, no? Like,
yeah,
they're still saved there.
Yeah, and as we did them without, because in the past we worked with liquid latex and some materials like that, that during time they corrode, I think. But for this case, we use silicone, and they are not changing shapes at all. So we think that we can have them for a long time also. And Kuma and the other characters, they are separated. So we have like the torso part, the face, the heads, they're all different parts. So we can build them together, taking the best ones that are better now, I think.
Ivan, want to add something?
No. Is that like
Okay.
the most preserved ones will be used for new stuff?
Yeah, and we were thinking about making some exposition, because we premiered the film in a very big museum we have here in Buenos Aires, and we talked with them. Maybe we can do someday a special day about archaeology and paleontology and bring all the puppets back and make an exposition. And then COVID happened, so we are still waiting for that day to come, to have a special exposition about Kuma and bring everything physical to the public again.
Yes, hopefully it will happen, because it's a lot of work, and it would be nice that if people can see the physical place of Kuma. Okay. I'm checking if there's any question from the audience. Apakah ada pertanyaan teman-teman yang di Zoom meeting dan di... No, we have. Bertanya ya teman-teman, yuk kesempatannya. So my next question is regarding Craft. Craft is a animation festival that is displaying craft-based animation, but it is not that we hate, or it is not a rejection of digitalization. My question to you all is, how do you incorporate your handcraft-based animations with digital or with technology? How do you incorporate it? Please, from Mikael first.
That's an interesting question, because I think that is there is a lot to say about it, because and it's a key point about the survival of the craft in animation industry field. That is a field that is pushing so much in a completely different direction. Then when I look at a big product like the Leica one about stop motion, what amazed me is exactly what you are talking about, that the ability is to put together these two souls, the craft world with the one of the world of digital. And for my short, the short, that was also the biggest challenge, because for the 2D part, I had to do a lot of different tries, because I have a bunch of 2D animation of the ghosts that were supposed to be completely different, but they worked in 2D. But as soon as I put them inside a physical space, as it is the stop motion one, they didn't work. And that is a really tricky part, a tricky element. And for this reason, I tried just to blend them with using post-processing program as After Effects, but there are a bunch of them. But I think that the concept is really important, to have the clear ideas from the starting of the process, how you want to achieve that kind of hybridation between arts. And in my case, I have to admit that it's something that I reached in a more advanced stage, and I didn't have the idea clear enough at the beginning, and that took me to a lot of dead ends. And I think that I will try again to experiment in different ways, but I think that is fundamental, this to putting together these two worlds.
Okay, thank you, Miguel. What about Shin? Do you use digital? How much do you use digital in the process of making Dino?
My set area is 90 centimeter and 19 centimeter only. So the digital technology was absolutely necessary. But however, having object in front of me is very important to me. So digital technology is very, very important, but so excuse me, can I なんだ
Yes, you can try to find the words first.
Can I introduce my website?
Oh, yeah, yes, please. You can type in the chat.
Okay. So this is my animations making chat.
Okay.
Okay.
1 second.
Connie,
I send.
okay, if anyone will share the screen, you can share directly in the Zoom.
Iskia, maybe you can open the website and then share the in the screen the website that Shin just shared to us. There is a link. Okay. Hold on. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
This is my set. Second photo is my workspace, and that is 19 centimeter and 19 centimeters. So every cut and every scene is shooting in this area. So so and many space is composition and other set and other set. So so digital is very important. Yes.
Is that plastic bag?
So
oh, okay.
So Dino is my personal project. So
Okay.
no staff and no sponsor and no company.
Yes, that's okay. But it becomes a beautiful film and a long one.
Thank you.
People will think that you have a big team. Wow.
So if possible, I have a studio. I'd like to make a big set and a big camera and high-spec computer.
Do you think it will be more helpful? Do you think it will be easier for you to have higher spec computer? Okay.
So, because I make this animation about 13 years.
Wow. 13? 1 and 3?
Yes. I started to
Wow.
make this animation in 2007.
Wow. Years.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your workspace and your 13 years project with us, Shin. Now we go to Kuma and the Biz about how to incorporate the digital or technology. Before we go to the audience question, we have some very good questions in the chat room. But please tell us about the involvement of digital.
In our case, it was a very important thing because we used not only digital animation to test some movements and all the pre-production, making the animatic for previewing the movie that we wanted to see, but also we had, for example, one 3D modeler that was Emilio Ibarra, that he modeled a lot of the animals' features, so we could have, like, for example, skeletons or parts of the puppets that were easier to do that way and print in 3D. And also the main thing was the interaction for the faces of Kuma, because we had 2D at the beginning to see every expression of his face, 3D modeling for making the base of the head where that face would stick, and so we could have the replacement over one similar base, and after that, all the handcrafted finishing of those 3D printed faces that needed like a lot of detail, and yes, like the finish from the 3D print to the final product was a lot of handcrafted work. So I think that process specifically involved everything, like technology and handcrafted work. Of course, after that, we had a lot of post-production and we removed a lot of wires and rigs and added skies and color correction. But I think in the process of the handcrafting part, there was a lot of technology involved helping us to achieve that.
Yeah, and also one of the key elements in the short film is fire, and fire was achieved combining those. Mm-hmm. First of all, when we were developing the visual style, we tried different ways of working with paper on camera, with little lights from behind and everything. But then we decided that we would go with the 2D animated fire on top of a stop motion shot. So mm-hmm. There was a lot involved, like the light department developing the little LED lightings with all the filters, color filters on top of it that we could work for each frame. But it was like a big piece. It was almost as big as the face of Kuma. So for every shot that you see with fire, there was this element on screen, so it would share the fire light with all the maquette for real. And then in post-production, we erased that until there was nothing. And then we covered that with a 2D animated fire. And inside the fire was a combination of textures appearing that we did shooting different kind of papers with light from behind. So it was like physical, digital with physical inside of the digital. That was the whole mix that we did. I was in charge of that, so maybe he can share something else.
Yes, no, it was just like that. Like we had a very specific element that Julian from the light department built with Lucas. They put some filters on LED lights, so the whole scene would be illuminated by fire. And then we, with a 2D team, we animated the fires as a shape. So that shape would be filled with these pictures that Harry was saying. But yes, it was a process that involved every possible technique that we could have.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I think it's clear that technology very much helping. Yeah, and it's not taking away the essential of craftsmanship. We have some interesting question from the audience here. You can see it because it's in the chat. We have question from Ame or Ami to I think it's to all of you. How important it is to have fun in the creative process. Yeah, so animation making can be very stressful. How important it is to have fun. Maybe start from Mikael, please.
I think I would say that is the most important thing, at least for me, especially because all the process is exhausting. It takes a lot of time of dedication. If you lose your capacity to feel, to prove some kind of emotion of this, of that kind, it means that there is something that is not working how it should. Because I believe that the audience will notice if you had some fun during the process. Fun maybe can be another kind of an emotion, but the audience will notice what it will be, what it was your feeling in that moment, and that's the most important thing. Maybe, of course, if you are telling a tragic story about, I don't know, a tragic story settled in the Second World War, is of course the fun part is not the main emotion, but you have to make sure that you are doing that stop motion movie, but everything that you are telling the story for a reason. And a reason is always linked to a deep emotion. It's the trigger that puts you in this madness of animating a puppet for days and days. It's really important.
Thank you, Mikael. What about Shin? Did you have fun during the 13 years making, you know? Did you think it was fun? How did you keeping happy during keep yourself happy during the process?
Making animation, stop motion. It's very it is very hard and very tired, but I like to making, so so yes, I am happy to make.
So because you are happy, then it's, of course, it's something you really want to make. Then even though it's very hard, you still happy. Yes, of course, everybody. 13 years. It's not, if it is not passion, then okay. What about Ivan and Javier?
In our case, it was a long process too, but we had a lot of fun. I think having fun is part of what keeps you going, and not getting overstressed around the problematics that come up every day, because we are dealing with materials and production problems and a lot of people, organizations. So there's a lot of elements that can make it boring in a way, challenging, but not fun. And I think that the most fun that we had was, first of all, getting to work almost every day on a project that we loved. So that was motivating, like to get out of bed and start the day. And also involving the team. I think that the team was very, had a lot of different people that brought their personalities and their jokes and their moods and everything to the daily work. And I think it created a really good environment of work. So it's fun to go there, like you get to have internal jokes, joke with the characters. I don't know, it's a little world that comes up while producing that is really beautiful to live in. So I think that's super important.
Yeah, and I think that one of the key things that we have in stop motion, that we are not covering sound while producing the images. So everybody can be talking around the workshop. So maybe there were like 6 or 7 of us, each of us working in a different thing, not looking at each other, but always chatting and bothering each other and sharing experiences. So that thing that I want to be at the studio really early in the morning to receive them, to prepare mate, that's what we drink here in Argentina, and to share that, and then to stop and go to lunch all together. And there were like 15 of us in a round table talking about life, and then going back to work. That was very important, to have like fixed schedule for the hours that we were getting into the studio, being away for lunch and then coming back to work and then going home. With that thing really sharp in schedule, everything was fun inside of that. I think that is very important to have like how many hours are you going to deliver for the project every day, and if that is something you can control and fix, fun is going to arrive in some moment. Because every Monday for us was a big question: who can come and help this week? And production team had to give us, the director of each area, a list of people that were going to come on each different day. So the Monday job was to say who is coming and what job will they have during the week. And with that production management done on Monday, then all the days were easier. If we didn't have like a production team in charge of controlling who is coming and why is coming and what can be done and what can be achieved each week, that could have been like a big problem. We had to adapt every day, but the main thing for me was that meeting had to appear on Monday. We had to have control of what could happen this week. And with that in mind, we could work freely and having fun most of the time, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, in order to have fun when doing work, yeah, everybody have to be in line, right? Which meaning the Monday meeting is important to get everybody in the line, in the same line. Okay, thank you, Ivan and Javier. Next question is, What was from Arini Ashifa? What was the most difficult things to do from the animation making? I think I already asked that question, but the second part of the question is interesting. And which one is harder between technical production or deciding the story? How and how can you all overcome it? Thank you, Arini Ashifa, for the question. Which one harder between technical or deciding the story? Um, Maybe we can start with Kuma first, so the opposite order, please.
I don't think that personally I don't think that I have a general answer to that, but I think it depends a lot on the production. In our case, they were both difficult because we had a story at the beginning that had to that were continuously adapting. And so while we were already producing some scenes, we were still talking about the meaning of each scene and changing order and trying to also reduce the production. We started with an animatic that had 18 minutes of duration, and we said like, okay, we can't produce this because we will never finish. So we cut it down to 11 minutes. To do so, we had to cut down lines of the story that went out of the main story and reduce it to the minimum, to the essential. But to do so, we had a lot of meetings with the script writer and showed the animatic to a lot of people to see their opinions. So it was a lot of work involved in creating the story and telling the message the most clear way, while we were already producing and facing all the challenges of the production. Maybe when in a technical way, maybe if it's something that you already did, you know how to do it and you don't have to investigate a lot. But in our case, like Javi said previously, we were facing everything was new: the materials, the scale of the production, the I don't know, the complexity of the scenographies, the lighting, the technologies that we used. So we were all the time facing challenges, story-wise and technically. And there was a part of the question that says how can you overcome it? And I think that in our production, the teamwork was key, was essential, because Mikel said in a moment that he needed another pair of eyes to watch what he was doing, because he can lose focus. And I think he's totally right. Like we needed to have even more pair of eyes to see what we were doing and see if what we were telling was being understandable, if the message was clear, the acting was like you understood what was happening in that scene. So we had to show it to a lot of people, and I think that's key. Like from the early moments of the production, you have to share it with people that you trust to give you an opinion and be open to those opinions, to take what is useful for your production and to be able to identify what's helpful and what's not to your production. So that's an exercise that is constant. You have to show it to other people.
Okay, thank you. Javier, want to add something? Okay. Mikel, should I repeat the question? Which one is harder between technical or deciding the story?
No, I agree with him in the sense that depends by the project and depends by the scale of the project. But something that I come from live action cinema, and what fascinated me most about animation is that the technical part is deeply linked with the storytelling part. Then I think that I found hard to make a separation between the two issues, because just to make an example about Wicked Desires, you can have the the most expensive, wonderful, high concept. Wicked Desires has to be at the beginning a musical that had to involve a lot of people, but it took just a glimpse to the calendar to realize that they had got only 3 months to accomplish all the project. Then you have to have also to be brave, I would say, to cut something about a story that you are fallen in love with, because you have to deal with the technical part. And you have to be honest with yourself. Okay, these things that I've written down, that is maybe linked to my deepest childhood memories. Can I do this with the amount of time and resources that I have at disposition? And then the two worlds start to talk, so one with each other, and then they resolves. All for this reason, you can overcome them, because you have to look at the technical part, thinking what I want to say with this technical decision, but at the same time you have to look to the storytelling part and say, I can do it this with the resources that I have. Then I think that as was telling Ivan, it's difficult to make a clear distinction between these two spheres.
Okay, thank you, Mikael. What about Shin? Shin, which one more difficult? The technical or to choose the story?
I want to make an adventure movie, so I thought about how to connect the story towards the treasure, and about Dino and the boys' relationship too. Okay.
So do you have one story from the beginning? Did you change story or never?
And one story.
One story. So clearly for Shin, it was easier to create the story, more difficult to do the animation, right, Shin?
I think yeah. So sorry, please. One more question.
So it's more difficult to write the story and then to make the animation. It's more difficult to make the animation or to create the story of this adventure story.
Yeah, no. 難しいな。So I understand your question, but
that's okay. Maybe maybe we can save this question because we don't have a lot of time anymore. We can save this question and then Shin later can email me the answer, and then we will put the answer in our social media. What about that, Shin?
Sorry, I can't listen your voice. I cannot listen your voice now.
Okay, maybe we go to the next question, everyone. Yeah, okay. So the next question, and probably the last question we can ask here, because we only have 5 minutes left. I will write down the rest of the question and then I will email all the filmmakers. If you have time, maybe you can write down the answer. But we have time for one more question, which is from Banyu to each of the filmmakers. Who are your most significant inspiration? Who are your most significant inspiration? Maybe Mikael? Can
Yes. That is a tough question, but I would say, speaking about stop motion animation, was Laika, all the Laika production. A film like Paranorman for me is really everything I would like to accomplish like a storyteller. But generally speaking, there are also other movie directors, not necessarily linked to animation, like Guillermo del Toro, that dances between the two worlds, the live action and the animation, but also some from the classic Hollywood, like Billy Wilder. I think that if you do animation, doesn't mean that you don't have to know and study all the live action production, because it can help you a lot and a lot of point of view. Then just be curious, but that's it.
Yes, what about Ivan and Javier?
Hi, do you want to start?
Yeah, from my point of view, I started making stop motion animation after I did some visual effects, like craft visual effects. So the main inspiration for that was Phil Tippett, because I loved watching his creature come to life in different movies. At one time, I didn't know who he was, but every time I saw Star Wars or those movies, and I saw the quality of the stop motion animation that was delivered especially for creatures, that was something I wanted to try. And then I got to see one short film that he has that is all dinosaurs only, without humans. And as a big fan of museums and learning about biology and all that, I thought that stop motion was the way to achieve that kind of visuals. Then when we teamed up with Ivan and we find the story for Kuma, then humans appear. But I think I myself could work on more animated project without humans. I think that to use animation as a tool for telling about the other ways of life that this whole world had in the past. I don't know. I would love to work with dinosaurs alone, or with ancient small creatures alone, and tell different stories without humans. Kuma had humans, but it's not necessary for me, I think.
And in my case,
what about Ivan?
in my case, I think I got into stop motion with the video game Neverhood, a 90s video game made by Doug Tednaple. And that was very comedic, and it was a graphic adventure made in stop motion. And I think that I worked in the video game industry for a while before getting into stop motion. But I think that I love the comedy treatment to the animation, and I look for that in everything that I consume, like Stupid Body Studios, like Body's Thunderstruck, Robot Chicken, and also less comedic stories, but with that tone, like Fantastic Mr. Fox is one of my favorite movies. So I like in the acting of the animation to have that childhood alive and comedic tone, you know. So I think that with Kuma, I was always trying to have fun with the acting of some characters, like even in the smallest thing, like how the little rabbit that appears in the moment watches the big bear to shout. Like the timing of that little acting for me, it's meant a lot. Like I was very occupied on that when you see that, you can get a little laugh inside at least. So that's mostly what I look for into animation, like the transmitting the fun in a way.
Thank you, Ivan. What about Shin? Who is your most significant inspiration?
So,
We mean a person.
I like Phil Tippett too. So I like Star Wars and Fantastic Beast, like a dinosaur movie by Phil Tippett. So, but I am greatly affected by Aardman animations in England, Wes and Gromit series. So their character is very cute and funny. So I like Aardman's characters and Aardman's animations.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
Shin. Yeah. So that was the last question we can ask during this session. I'm so sorry for Felicia Amanda and Lutfi Fikriansyah. I will write down your question and email it to all filmmakers, and then we will put the answer in our social media. So you stay tuned for that, Lutfi and Felicia. So we are in the end of our session tonight. Before I close it out, let me take a group picture of all of us. Maybe all participants can turn on your camera, please, so we can take this opportunity to have like a photo souvenir with all the filmmakers. Yuk teman-teman nyalain kameranya. Siapa yang mau nyalain? Yay! Who wants to be in the picture? Oh.
Hello.
Iskia, can we take pictures?
Okay, I will counting the from 3 to 1. Okay.
Wait. Do we have everyone? Wait a little bit.
Waiting for the
Mungkin mau
audience for
sisiran dulu.
the camera on.
Maybe combing the hair first.
Okay.
Okay.
I will counting from now. 3, 2, 1, and cheese. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have good? Okay. Thank you so much, Mikael, Shir, Ivan, and Javier,
thank you
for coming
Thank
to
you.
this meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Now we are going to sign out from the. We hope you. We look forward for your next works. Okay.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you so much for everyone in the Zoom meeting and also in the YouTube. We see you in the next question. It will be in the next section. It will be in a half hours. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Gracias.